was another one of those situations right here where, as I alluded to in the pre-show, Abu Bakar Nurmagomedov, fantastic, incredible, talented fighter who underperforms on fight night sometimes, man, who I think maybe not underperforms, but overthinks the fight and then doesn't apply the game plan or the strategy that is so effective that he can utilize. So what did you make of this whole entire fiasco right here? Good cage control by Nurmagomedov, right? Not a ton of striking, but all of the damage and explosive movements came from Zaleski the entire fight. So what'd you think?
Well, that's exactly it, Derek. It seemed like when anyone was in danger, it was Nurmagomedov. He was the one catching the knees to the face, catching the big right hands, always looking to put, to shoot the double and then getting your head stuffed and getting not really fighting your kind of style of fight. I was curious, and that's why I posted on Twitter, if anybody was calling for a robbery report, because personally, I thought Zaleski won the fight. And going back and watching it again this morning, I still think Zaleski ran away with that third round. He had the most impactful moments of the entire fight. And sure, there was some people on Twitter clamoring for the robbery report. My question to you, Derek, is the name of Nurmagomedov kind of a hindrance in this one? Because you see that last name, you expect him to go in there and maul and smash. And when that doesn't happen, even if you have all the control, even if you have all the pressure, you're still not really getting any finishes. You're not getting any bonuses. Does that last name actually hurt Abu Bakar in this instance?
I don't think in the eyes of the judges, but I think in the eyes of the fans and what people are, their expectations. Yeah, man. Like, if you are familiar with Abu Bakar's career, he's not a bad fighter at all, dude. What is his record? 17-4-1. Like, that is a very good record. That's counting this loss right here, right? Mm-hmm. So if you look at his career, you know that he has a very fundamental and basic kind of game plan to victory right here. The only problem is when you can't secure the takedowns and when the game is evolving in real time. I'm talking about evolving to where that cage control was enough. In Khabib's run, that cage control was enough. But imagine they put this damage on Khabib's career now, this version. So now it's like, all right, well, Khabib, you got to be, smashing these people while you're controlling them. Zaleski dos Santos just had fantastic takedown defense to where he couldn't initiate that game plan. And more than anything else, man, optically just made it ugly, made it dirty, right? So I think that the Nurmagomedov name does hinder him in the eyes of the fans because everybody gets excited when he loses. Oh, I can't wait to see a Nurmagomedov lose. Like, they're hating on him. I just thought that this was a very close fight against a very experienced, tough fighter in Zaleski, and Nurmagomedov just came up short. But I don't see robbery here whatsoever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. This was a great performance by Zaleski dos Santos. And again, another time when Abu Bakar underperforms.
And but let me ask you this, because in my head, it's not quite that simple, but it is quite that simple, right? I think that the problem is you start feeling the power of Zaleski, and he says, okay, I know I got a knee waiting for me or an uppercut waiting as soon as I try to close that distance. And what was the other big thing that nobody really was pointing out too much, but Dos Santos was eating up Nurmagomedov's legs. So when you're picking, basically, Laura Sanko made a really good point on broadcast, and she had mentioned when anybody steps into the pocket, nothing can be for free. You have to let them know, if you try to close the distance on me, you're going to pay in some way, shape, or form. So I'm going to make you stay out at kicking range. Oh, by the way, that's where I'm best at anyways, in that kicking range. So Zaleski was able to maintain distance, and then when things got close, was able to get the takedown defense to turn them and then back away and create that over and over and over again. Do you think that for Abu Bakar Nurmagomedov, this was as simple as just a simple underperformance, or do you think that Zaleski is much more of a tricky opponent than people give him credit for just because he's an old grizzled vet?
I think it also, I'd go a little bit more with the latter, Derek. Mm-hmm. Yes, did Abu Bakar perform to what he probably can or where he should be in the eyes of everyone else? Not necessarily. But I give a little more credit to Zaleski dos Santos in fighting his fight, staying on his lane, and actually knowing where your opponent's going to be his strongest and using that against him and actually fighting in your lane. Now, that Laura Senko's the one who even said, she's like, he might get a leg kick finish, because you're right. He was chewing up that leg of Nurmagomedov. Now, can Dos Santos repeat this, or can Nurmagomedov grow from this? I genuinely think, Derek, this was a time in which the sport was evolving literally in our eyes. No longer are you able to just grab somebody, put him down, hold him down, and get the win. You actually need that damage, which I love seeing. I love that, because even in Khabib's time, we were talking about Khabib before, but even in his time, he never had one performance bonus. He just had wins, and that's no longer the status quo of today. People are clamoring for those performance bonuses. They're clamoring for the wins, and those are the people who get to the main card more often than not. I think that's where Abu Bakar's game needs to develop going into fighting these top tier opponents.
That's right. I couldn't agree more. So with that being said, Zaleski dos Santos, it's been a little while, but my man is back and he is in the win column, and you got to love to see that.